So yeah, this is the deep fake era, gentlemen. We are in it right now. And apparently we're also not in the esports era. Is esports dying? Uh-oh.
Is everything you know and love dying right before your eyes?
Yes.
Let's find out.
Yes. The answer is yes. The answer. Have you seen World of Warcraft?
All right, you might have
Halo?
guessed it, but I'm going to be talking about some hoodie orgs today. But what you might not know is that we're also a hoodie org. Go down and click in the link in the description and get yourself one of our dope touch grass hoodies. There is one question that has been sitting in the soft underbelly of the...
You see what they should do with that is they should create a program to, if there's a streamer that somebody doesn't like, or like a viewer, you should be able to send a code to that person to insult them of giving them the hoodie that says touch grass. That's what they should do. You turn buying the hoodie into an insult.
Esports and gaming world over the past few months. Is esports dying? Now, for me, a lot of the resurgence of this question follows the downward momentum of FaZe Clan's decidedly odorous initial public offering back on July 20th of last year. For those of you who don't know, an initial public offering, or IPO, is what happens when a business takes their company public and allows people to buy and sell their shares on a stock exchange. And if you're wondering how FaZe's stock has been doing since...
It's doing so badly it might actually be taken off the S&P 500 or something like that, because the stock is going under $1.
Since that fateful July day, well, you don't have to be a financial analyst to analyze this chart. Since its debut on the NASDAQ, the shares in phasing up have complicit.
That's bad. That is really, really, really fucking bad. I think it makes sense why it's so low. I mean, I think esports and everything about it have been massively overvalued. People are just, you know, thinking it's going to change the world and stuff like this. I don't really think so. Obviously, it's bad for OTK. It's bad for all the other orgs whenever, you know, FaZe doesn't do well. But, you know, that's what happens. I think FaZe is also, like, it's built around, like, YouTube stuff and esports more, which I think is not really doing as well.
To analyze this chart. Since its debut on the NASDAQ, the shares in phasing up have completely tanked. And that has contributed to a much larger conversation in the esports and gaming world about just how orgs in esports become profitable businesses. You see, many of the biggest esports orgs that you know, love, and cheer for are propped up by speculative investment.
That's right. People keep putting money into them, hoping that one day people will buy jerseys of Faker the same way they buy jerseys of LeBron James. It's not gonna happen. It's been a massive fucking bubble for like 10 years. For 10 years, people have tried to chase the high of StarCraft 2 esports and a handful of other fucking high points, and it just hasn't happened. And it's not going to happen. You just have more of these people investing tons of money into esports, and like that's why you remember like TSM got like you know, I think it was $100 million of monopoly money from FTX. They even changed their name for it. They basically got married, and guess what? It was all bullshit.
Rich people out there in the past said to themselves, "Hey, this esports shit could be pretty big."
Yeah.
And then invested in those orgs in order to give them the cash that they needed to grow. The problem is, while many of those orgs have grown, have developed fan bases and big audiences, there's just one thing missing.
Yeah, they're not making money.
How the f do they make money? Now, in order to answer that question, let's do what every boomer has been doing for the last 5 years when considering esports. Compare it to traditional sports.
That's right. And the thing is that it's not a boomer thing to compare it to traditional sports, because it's esports. It's the same general thing. You're selling tickets, selling jerseys, selling content, selling everything, of course.
Traditional sports team like, oh, I don't know, the future 2023 World Series champion Toronto Blue Jays makes money in a few ways. We've got advertisement, merchandise sales, TV deals, ticket deals, licensing, and revenue sharing. And with that in mind, many people, including the early investors in things like the Overwatch League and the LCS, thought that they could replicate this model and create what might be a very profitable merchandising and media business. The problem is that so far, it hasn't worked. And with many mainstream...
It doesn't work because that's not how people generate, like... A lot of the people that watch esports play the game of that esport. And video games fundamentally change over the years. Like, people aren't playing the same video games they were 5 years ago. Like, 15 years ago, you had Halo 1, Halo 2, okay? Now you have Halo fucking Infinite, Halo 5. 50 years ago, you had basketball. Today, you have basketball. We're not playing Basketball 3. We're not playing Basketball Infinite. We're not playing Basketball Reforged. It's the same fucking game. And so you're taking something that is a unique, consistent thing, which is traditional sports, and then you're applying it to video games that have a very short shelf life. It's just, it doesn't work.
Brands choosing not
Chess
to
2
re-up
is out.
as title sponsors of
Checkers.
leagues like that, it doesn't look like it's going to work anytime
It's made
soon.
for casuals.
So with very few exceptions, all of your favorite esports orgs are still riding the high of that venture capital investment. All while trying desperately to find ways to make money and paying salaries of players that are probably deservedly very high. And you don't have to take my word.
Yeah, they're very high. The players get paid a good amount of money. They can also win tournaments and get more money that way. Absolutely.
For it. Just ask this guy's Toast. Toast assembled a Valorant roster just before the recent NA Challengers LCQ. And after a heroic run from a young team who had really only been together for a month, they qualified for Challengers.
That's
which
impressive.
left Toast with one important question. You might find this one familiar. And he took it one step further.
That's the funny thing. They don't.
That. He actually made a YouTube video explaining the entire story of signing this roster from start to finish. How he signed the team, how much it costs, and ultimately how daunting it is to try to recoup that cost as an org owner.
Which gave me 2 months to, create a new company, sign a coach, sign 5 players, and hope they have enough time left to practice and win this whole thing.
And that's also like, and think about how many assumptions that is. That's assuming that the coach is good. That's assuming that the 5 players, one person doesn't quit. There's not a twit longer on one of them. That's assuming that they will practice. And also the big one is assuming they'll win.
How hard could that be? So with each player costing $5,000 minimum, the
Is that
coach
a month?
is also, similarly priced.
Sure.
You're looking at
So it's $30,000
$30,000 a month.
It's a lot of money.
Which is $360,000 a year.
That's a lot of money.
Minimum. And again, this doesn't include any other staff.
Well, there's also like management and staffing. It's not like just the players and a coach. Yeah.
You might need like designers, like stuff like accountants and lawyers to look over these contracts.
There it is.
Add everything up, and that's at least $500,000 a year.
Oh.
As you can see from Toast napkin math, this shit ain't cheap. As esports become more and more mainstream popular, the biggest events are massively watched, and the players are able to command even more competitive salaries. Let's put ourselves in Toast's shoes and go back to our early example.
Well, it's especially whenever the players also are streamers. So, like, you're not just getting a tournament player, you're getting a streamer, too. Like, for example, Tarek or some other, like, I remember Shroud was like that. Like, before Shroud left Cloud9 or stopped playing for Cloud9 and Counter-Strike, he also streamed.
Of traditional sports franchises. He's not going to be signing any $100 million TV deals anytime soon. He's not a franchisee, so he's not going to be doing any revenue sharing with Riot. So the best that he can hope is to package himself and his team together and sell some ads, or make some hoodies and sell those.
Right.
But surely a creator-backed org run by one of the most respected figures in the industry, not to mention handsome as hell, would be able to eventually turn a profit, right?
For those that don't know, I'm sure most of you know by now, I own an esports org called Moist Esports, and I f***ing love it. I am extremely passionate about Moist Esports, but I run it at a massive net loss.
Oh, God. Yep, there you go. There it is. Oh, fuck.
I don't want to get too deep into the nitty-gritty here, too deep into the weeds and the brass tacks, but I lose roughly 6 figures a month on it.
6 figures a month on it, losing about $100,000. How can you make up for that? No, I think that's fine. I think that's fine because he can monetize a lot of watching the events and then put the events on his YouTube channel and do further promotion for those events. So maybe he's able to break even whenever you count in all of his like personal monetization of the content as well. So yeah, I think like if that's what I was trying to do, that's what I would do. Not gross? Well, I'm not sure. Do sponsors cover that, right? I think he's including sponsors. How do we make this more profitable for them? Buy more shirts.
And it's fine.
So yeah, I guess
Watch
you could
the
say
events.
that this just keeps getting worse. If you're not aware, Toast is of course referring to Moist Critical's creator-backed esports org, Moist
That's his entire
Esports,
Twitch
which
paycheck
Charlie
into the org.
himself says he's running at a 6-figure loss per month.
Jesus.
And Moist has
yeah, I don't know what their I have no idea what their financials are. I just kind of assumed, like, I don't know how they set this up again, but what I had assumed is that the reason and how he justifies it is because not only is he passionate about it, but he also can monetize it on a personal level. And that makes up for it. But maybe not.
teams and players in Rocket League, Apex Legend, Guilty Gear, and Smash. Not even the biggest esports where the players and staff would be demanding the highest salaries. And you might say to me, Keith, you're describing two small orgs that are backed by individual creators.
Yeah.
Assuredly, this isn't happening with those big orgs.
It's worse with big orgs. The bigger the orgs are, the more problematic this is, because many of those orgs are extremely big because they received a lot of venture capital money
that you described earlier that are all backed by investment money and venture capital. Well, let me tell you about the week that 100 Thieves just had. On February 7th, tech website Digiday published an article in which they interviewed 6 ex-100 Thieves employees about the company's recent round of massive layoffs in their content creation department. The article discusses an alleged internal pivot within the organization, one that moved their business model away from YouTube-first content creation and partnerships into a strategy that was focused on creating and acquiring new businesses. Over the last little while...
Yeah, they've been doing this a lot, and I actually think this is kind of a good idea. You know, they did, obviously, Courage and Nadeshot. They did the Backbone, which is for phone gaming. They have Juvie, which is their juice drink. And I think that if you incorporate all of those products into 100 Thieves, I don't know if they're actually losing money, because at a certain point, 100 Thieves becomes a loss leader for selling those products. And then those products make up the difference of money that they are losing on 100 Thieves.
100T and Nadeshot
So that's how I think they would do
started
it.
a game studio,
I don't know.
acquired peripheral company High Ground, and of course continued to expand their clothing and merchandise footprint, you know, Hoodie Org, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The article colors Nadeshot.
Oh, they also have Foundations. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's the clothing company.
And the company in a little bit of a darker shade than usual. It also paraphrases a former employee making the accusation that Nadeshot and their executive team are prioritizing passion projects like Juvie over their traditional money-making partnerships business. And this...
I think that's a good idea. I think Nadeshot and them are making the right calls, actually. I think selling actual products is always going to be more stable than trying to monetize creators. I think if anything, this last 2 years has taught us that, you know, anybody's career could just be over in like a week, something like that. And also people fall off. Like, how many people from like the Among Us era that were getting 10K plus viewers now get 1,000? Well, guess what? Whenever you do that with somebody, then you're not going to make as much money with them. There's so many of them. Yeah, even less, exactly.
Is where things get complicated for me, because as someone who creates YouTube content in esports, I don't want to see anyone losing their jobs. On the other hand,
no, it's really sad that people are losing their jobs. It fucking sucks. I mean, I think at a certain point, like, obviously, the problem is that not only is esports undergoing effectively a reevaluation of its, like, a revaluation. That's really what's happening here, is that people are going back and saying, is this really worth $500,000? Is this really worth $2.5 million? Is a $30,000 a month cost that returns maybe $3,000? Is this actually a brand investment after we've been investing into this for 5 years and the brand doesn't really seem to be any better because of it? So it's already going through that. And then there's the multiplier of, on top of that, you have the economy. The economy is in the shitter. It's not doing well. Inflation is massive. People are losing their jobs. We're going into a recession. So you put both of those things together, you know, the esports bubble not bursting, but at least showing a lot of cracks, and also a global recession. And guess what you have? People that get laid off. It sucks.
If Nadeshot and his executive team believe that there's no path to profitability in partnerships and content creation, even if it is more lucrative in the short term, then they absolutely should pivot. Because if they don't make the change, then eventually the whole company will lose their jobs. This content model, it's not a new model. You create an org, you get some players.
I do think that they should make more content on YouTube. I don't want to tell them what to do, right? I mean, like, there's another org owner, right? What the fuck do they want to listen to me for? But yeah, I think they should make more YouTube content. In general, I think that if you're running into a spot where you're not succeeding, look at what you used to do that you don't do anymore and innovate that to be relevant for today.
Players become popular, you create content around those players, then you try to
Apple's
sell
done
that
that multiple
content
times
to brands. Maybe even stick their logo on your jersey. But if that strategy isn't going to keep up with your $120 million in venture capital investment and $460 million evaluation.
And I also want to say that venture capital investment, people have been extremely irresponsible with the type of money that they've been investing into these tech projects. Like, this is actually like one of the more reasonable ones. They have been massively irresponsible. Because the logic that a lot of venture capitalists have is take 100 shots, hit one, make $1 billion. That's effectively what their idea is.
And you think that, hey, what if we sell some energy drinks, some hoodies, some video games, and maybe some keyboards, and that will keep up? Then maybe that's what you got to do. Okay, so before we move on to maybe a few of the rays of hope in this rat's nest of a situation, let's do a little recap. Rich people were like, hey, cool, esports, let's invest. Nadeshot did that cool pose with Drake that one time, if you remember.
That was
crazy.
crazy.
The question arises, how do we make any money off of this? FaZe goes public last summer and completely tanks. And now we're all left sitting here going, is there any hope? Well, I have two less gloomy paths forward that I'd like to discuss with you. Enter Ludwig, I guess.
Oh, winning? Yeah. Hard work, perseverance, life, liberty, pursuit of dubs, the whole nine. Just champions over here.
Okay, I get it. Moist is super successful. You don't have any crypto sponsors, but then
that's the selling point right there.
to burn a lot of money to win that much?
Didn't Susan give you a lot of money to burn?
So you just burn the money like this?
Despite Moist literally making YouTube videos explaining
I never watched
all the
this.
money
That's
he
really
was
funny.
losing on Moist Esports, Ludwig recently announced that he had signed on and was going to be a co-owner of the org. And according to the man himself, this is why he did it.
I like esports. I know I talk shit on it all the time, but my ideal Sunday is sitting down, having football on one monitor, esports on the other monitor, and chess on my main monitor while I tank elo and watch my favorite teams win.
Ludwig is a very smart guy, and I'd like to talk to you all about something called vertical integration. Vertical integration occurs whenever you create multiple paths and ways that you make money into different transitionary periods a product goes through as it goes through development into the consumer's hands. So Ludwig owns a production company. Ludwig also has stake in an esports company. Ludwig also has a media company effectively by being Ludwig. So Ludwig promotes the esports company, that then they can use the production company to help produce events for esports, and then the esports company wins, hopefully, these events, and then Ludwig talks about it. He's creating a human centipede, but instead of it being 3 different people, it's just 3 Ludwigs. If you go back and you look at a lot of the ways that people made a massive amount of money, almost every single one of them made a lot of money through being able to completely control the vertical integration of a process. Whether this is Apple, Rockefeller, or I think those are probably the first 2 examples. Walmart. Walmart's another one. Yeah, Ford, exactly. Yes, Ford, there's another one. go back and look at almost every single person that's been very successful. That's what does it.
Usually lose.
And this is how he feels that Moist Esports could actually make some money.
But outside of passion and wanting to work with Charlie, I also think there's some possibility that it could make money. Because I think we have an advantage that most...
And again, it can make money in the abstract. Like, for example, you can have... Think about it like this. You can have one thing lose money, and then two other things gain money, and then what's the average? Well, the average is green. That's how it works.
Most teams don't. The same advantage that somebody like Disguised Toast would have, which is the exact tweet I sent out to him a week ago about the same topic. We're all content creators. And in this space, where every single venture capitalist group freaks out, gushes, and comes their little pants at the sentence creator economy.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of leverage, a lot more than an esports team like, you know, well, I guess I shouldn't name any because they're my...
No, but you're definitely right. We all know what you're talking about. Yeah, of course, because a lot of these other esports teams don't have the marketing reach.
Competitors now. But like another esports team who's not creator backed.
Yeah, it sucks not being able to name drop anymore, doesn't it?
Obviously, Ludwig is being optimistic here. He's a big name with a lot of money. He's trying to do something cool with one of his friends, and hopefully they can make some money together.
Yeah.
But I do think he makes a strong argument. There are very few things in this space more powerful than a big megaphone. And Ludwig has one of the biggest.
Yep.
Moist will now be able to package up their esports offering with the viewership and fan bases of both Moist Critical and Ludwig and take it to brands and say, hey, this is probably something you want your name attached to. And the fact is, they're not wrong. And crucially, he's also stressing creating products and merchandise and using those big megaphones to sell them. Something that...
Yeah, it's again, the way that these... If you need to understand how these things make money and how you can make money, you need to watch The Human Centipede and have a metaphysical understanding of that.
Thieves is literally being criticized for.
That's right.
Ultimately, Ludwig and Moist are passionate about esports.
Yes.
And for me,
I'm not
that's
wrong.
all this really comes down to. There's not going to be some magical money fairy that comes down and makes this all better.
Well, there actually has been, and that's been the problem, is that there have been a lot of magical money fairies, and the magical money fairies have created a fantasy world. And eventually, all fantasies end.
At the end of the day, it's going to take risks from the people that can actually afford to take those risks to make this shit work out. Which brings me to my last and maybe my most important point.
Well, I think also like it's about taking risks and trying to innovate and monetize in ways that people previously haven't been willing to do so or haven't been able to do so in.
Let's talk about the role that the developers play in all of this. Because unlike traditional sports, Riot Games and the developers that make these esports titles literally own the product that all of these businesses are trying to build around. Nobody is putting patch notes out for basketball. And that's a lot more relevant than you might think at first glance. The fact is, leagues like the NFL...
I mean, to be fair, like NFL and NBA have pretty much top-down decision making, right? Remember that one team owner who was caught being racist or something like that, and the I think it was the NBA was like, yeah, you're fucking out, get out, and that was it. So they do have top-down control in traditional sports too.
And the NBA have a rooting interest in the success of their orgs. When the
Yeah.
LA Lakers are successful and popular, the NBA can then sell that to broadcasters and advertisers and make money. Riot, on the other hand, well, they obviously have a vested interest in esports succeeding, yada yada, whatever. They're still gonna make money hand over fist selling knife skins to 12-year-olds in Valorant.
Yeah, and it's not even going to be close. They're going to make infinitely more money selling knife skins to 12-year-olds.
Whether or not esports lives or dies. So as you can see, companies like
look at
Riot
Nintendo.
and Valve and other developers, they've got a lot of power in all of this. And ultimately, the question of how and when these esports orgs make money might just come down to the extent to which the developers allow them to profit off of their intellectual property. The game.
Well, I mean, that's completely what it is. I mean, and you can look at an extreme example of that as Nintendo. Look at fucking Nintendo. You can't really invest a lot into any Nintendo-based esports because you don't know whenever they'll just randomly decide to shut it down
themselves. A good example of this is the various revenue sharing programs that have been built across esports. The recent VCT skin bundles, R6 charms, CSGO stickers, CDL skin bundles, and Street Fighter League skins are all examples of products that developers have created and sold as a way to infuse their esports teams and players with revenue. Now, I'm not saying that these are currently driving enough revenue to keep an entire org's lights on, but it's obviously a step in the right direction. And perhaps this is why Riot Games completely rebuilt their franchising model for the VCT, where they asked teams for literally $0 in stark contrast to the millions that teams had to pay to get into the LCS and the Overwatch League back.
By millions, he doesn't mean 3 million, he means 20. 20 million. It's nuts.
In the day. Maybe the system is somewhat of an olive branch from the...
That's why they had to get the venture capitalists, because, and that's a year, I'm pretty sure.
Developer.
That's a lot. Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
Riot is obviously going to profit off of the long-term viability of esports, and they don't want to cripple these orgs from the onset. And honestly, the brass tacks is that's what this all comes down to. From creators like Ludwig to massive multinational corporations like Riot, if the esports puzzle is going to be solved, we need all hands on deck. Now, I know I just kind of spelled out doomsday for you, but I'm trying to stay optimistic because there is really something pretty fucking cool here going on with esports. And there are a lot of passionate, really intelligent people working their asses off to make sure that we can watch Simple wield his AWP for years to come.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, yeah.
If you want more content like this...
And I would say, I would also say, like, for Counter-Strike is probably the most resistant to these kinds of changes because of how ingrained the esports community is for it.
Hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
All right. So there we fucking go. I am not surprised about this at all. And I think that, again, it seemed like esports and all the money that was being invested into it, it doesn't take a genius to look at that and think to themselves, this can't last. And CS is going to. Well, not only is CS growing, but Valorant is growing as well. A lot of this stuff has been growing, and I think that's a good thing.